I'd like to tell you a story about my sketchbooks. For the longest time, I was afraid of them. Not in that dramatic way, but in that quiet sort of way where you open a clean, empty sketchbook and just freeze. The blank page would stare back at me, and I would feel this heavy pressure. Don't mess it up. I wanted every page to look perfect. You know, that Pinterest perfect, where every spread would fill with beautiful drawings, polished paintings, something you'd be proud to share. But because of that pressure, I hardly ever used my sketchbooks at all. Instead, I drew on scraps of paper, loose sheets that could be scrunched up or thrown away if I didn't like them. And at first it felt safe, no commitment, no risk. But slowly piles began to grow, drawings I actually loved but all were scattered and hidden, never bound together in a book. If you stack them up, they could probably fill a shelf of sketchbooks by now. Well, probably not a shelf, but a good 2 or 3 sketchbooks by now. It took me a long time to realize what was really going on. I falling into that social media trap where everywhere I looked, I only saw the Pinterest perfect sketchbooks, the flawless pages people would share online. I didn't see the half-finished sketches, the messy experiments, the awkward ideas that never quite worked. And because I couldn't see them, I thought that maybe they didn't exist. I know it's a silly thought, but it was there. And so I forgot that sketchbooks aren't meant to be perfect. They're meant to be playgrounds for creativity, a place where mistakes are welcome, where ideas are born, where you can explore without pressure. You wouldn't think I'd feel this way considering I spent 3 years at university studying illustration. I had to fill plenty of sketchbooks, but the truth is, they all looked almost too polished because I felt just so much pressure. I was surrounded by amazing artists who all seemed to know how to sketch effortlessly. That feeling of needing to measure up never left me. And I don't think I'm alone in that. Do you ever feel intimidated by a brand new sketchbook? These days, when I flip through my sketchbooks, I see them a little bit differently. Some pages are beautiful, some are chaotic, some are downright ugly. And some make me laugh because I honestly have no idea what I was even trying to do. But that's the point, isn't it? Every page has a role to play. Together, they all tell the story of me showing up for my art again and again. It's like a brainstorming session, but instead of words, you brainstorm in pictures. Some ideas grow into something more, others stay messy, and that's completely fine. Now, don't get me wrong, it didn't happen overnight. I didn't just wake up one day and decide my sketchbooks would be a place for play rather than perfection. Even now I have to remind myself that no one else ever has to see these pages. Why did I even ever think that lots of people would be flicking through my sketchbooks? The truth is, in the past 10 years, do you know how many people have seen them? A grand total of 0. Well, unless you count my child who's peeked at a few. But otherwise, not a single other soul, and they won't unless I choose to share them. I used to create as if someone was always watching behind my back, but really, my sketchbooks are mine. They're my diary. They don't need to be polished, they don't even need to be seen. And, realizing that, you kind of realize how freeing it can be. While we are on the topic of sketchbooks, I'd love to share a little tip that's really helped me feel more organized with mine, and maybe it will help you too. For a long time, I treated all of my sketchbooks the same. They were just a jumble of everything, quick doodles, color tests, ideas for painting, you name it. They were all chaotic. And while that's perfectly fine, and if it works for you, that's really great. You don't need to change anything at all. I personally found myself getting frustrated when I wanted to look back for something specific and I couldn't find it. So I started categorizing my sketchbooks. One is dedicated entirely to flowers and plants, pages and pages of florals. Another is for exploring characters. Then I keep a separate one just for thumbnails and messy ideas, and another purely for rubber stamping. Each one has its own personality, and I realize that helps me a lot. And it's not about being strict or rigid, it's more about knowing where my ideas live. If I'm working on a painting and need some floral inspiration, I know exactly which sketchbook to reach for. And the simple act of labeling them means I'm not forever flipping through random pages trying to remember where I drew that specific flower. It's a small thing, but it's made my sketchbooks feel less overwhelming, and I waste a lot less time finding my sketches. And if there's one thing I'd love you to take away from this little tour, it's this. Treat your sketchbook like your own diary. It's your place, your space, somewhere only you get to visit. A space that welcomes your messiness, your thoughts, and your feelings. You never have to show it to anyone if you don't want to. It can be just for you. And if it takes time to feel comfortable making a mess, that's also perfectly normal. But every time you open your sketchbook, whether it's for a quick doodle or something more detailed, you are showing up for yourself and for your art. And that's something you should be really, really proud of.